Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Leland Lazarus. I'm from the U.S. Embassy, and welcome to our International Education Week virtual program. I know yesterday you guys talked about the 5 steps to study abroad in the U.S. Today we're going to drill down and we're going to talk about the arts and what is it like studying the arts in the United States. But before we get to that, just first off, let us know where you're from, where you're tuning in from. Write down right now in our Facebook Live which city you're from, which country you're hailing from, and see who is tuning in from across the Caribbean. And if you haven't already, you should also follow us on social media. I know that you're already looking at us via Facebook, but we're also on Instagram. We're also on Twitter, and follow us on WhatsApp as well on that number. That is 246-230-5097. That is 246-230-5097. So we have 2 incredible guests with us today. The first one is Miss Maxine Browne. Hello, Maxine.
Hello, Leland.
Maxine Browne is the cultural officer at the Ministry of Tourism, Sports and Culture for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and she's been working there since 2002. But Maxine Browne is also a Fulbright scholar. She did her Fulbright scholarship at American University in Washington, D.C. So we're so excited to hear about your experience, Maxine. Now, joining Maxine is another incredible person, Miss Sheena Rose from Barbados.
Hi, Leland.
Hi,
Maxine.
Hi, Sheena.
Now, Sheena is a contemporary Caribbean artist who lives and works in Barbados, but she's also a Fulbright scholar. She actually did her Fulbright at University of North Carolina, Greensboro back in 2016. She also holds a bachelor's in fine arts at Barbados Community College, and her work has been shown throughout the world. We're talking about the Caribbean, South America, the US, Canada, Europe, Africa, and even Asia. And she's also been featured in the New York Times, Huffington Post, and Vogue. So I'm really excited to learn how to get on your level. So without further ado, I give to you Maxine Browne and Sheena Rose, everybody.
Hello. It's indeed good to be here. Hi, Sheena.
Hi, Maxine. How are you doing?
I'm quite good, and we're off to a great start as we encourage all our friends to get involved with the arts. Let's help them find their niche. So Sheena, I'll go ahead and share my experience, and then you will share your experience, and then we can ask each other questions, and then you can get some feedback from our audience. So it's time for the arts. Now today I'll share my positive youth experience with you. I'll also share the impact it has had on my career in the arts, as well as give you tips for those who are interested in studying the arts, and of course, provide some other resources where you can tap on so you can get some more knowledge as to the areas you want to partake in when you get involved in that particular field of study, something artsy. And so now I'll just share my experience with you. That's been awesome. My experience in the US has been nothing short of awesome. What made it so awesome, you may ask? Well, the resources were unmatched. There were exceptional library facilities at the American University. I want to say it was par excellence. Every tool you required was there. And in the instance where you would have sought a book and it wasn't there, they find that book for you at another library. So in the US, they have like a community of libraries where they help each other find books for the students. So you have no excuses for not doing your work. Another area that complemented my positive experience in the US is the professionalism of the professors at American University. They were prepared and organized. They were approachable, very friendly, you can ask them questions, and they really believe in their students and push that confidence in you. They were student-centered. All the students were engaged. They give you a voice. In fact, up to 30% was due to class participation. So to give you that voice, and you know, a voice is important in the art and in this educational process. So to make you get a voice, and they help you exude a level of confidence because they believe in you. So you have no choice but to believe in yourself. So I really employ that experience because they bring out literally the best in you. And at this time, I want to credit the American University, my alma mater, for giving me that voice, for bringing out a level of confidence in me. And for that, I'll be truly grateful. I also add that the US system promotes success. Students are engaged at every level. As I already indicated, there's a raised level of confidence. When you don't believe in yourselves, they believe in you. So you have no choice but to be confident. And that's something I took away from the US experience. I became more confident, more assertive, more sure of myself. And for that, again, I'll be grateful. The system in the US is very flexible. They have this approach where you learn in the classroom and outside the classroom. So you have opportunity to travel to different states during your education, and they see it that's a learning process. Whereas others see it will hinder you, it doesn't hinder you, and you fit or fall right back into the system. So the system is very flexible. They embrace and endorse learning in the classroom, and of course learning outside the classroom. This is very important. So they're very artsy, very art integrative. With so many outstanding features, I had no choice but to be successful. They're success driven, and they force you to be success in a good way. I also got a lot of opportunities while in the US to travel. I saw different states. I went to Nashville, Tennessee, quite memorable, Miami, Florida, Massachusetts and Boston, and a lot of other areas. I went to Pittsburgh, and they give you that chance to travel. So as I always say, exposure, it makes you. And when you expose, you get to do more. So for that, it was a good takeaway because it opened my eyes. It was an eye-opener to other experiences. And of course, it was quite wonderful in terms of networking. You make 20 friends, and your friends take you places. You meet professors. You meet people hyper in the arts. And Sheena will share the experience too. You meet people that push you to excel. And that was a positive takeaway from my experience in the US. Now, in terms of the impact it has had on me, the American experience through the Fulbright Scholarship paved the way for my advancement in the arts. Much with my many years of experiences, along with my master in the arts, I was able to take myself and my community places. In fact, I think having a Master of Arts in Performing Arts Management provided a smooth transition from my post of Dance Development Officer to Cultural Officer, post that is synonymous, with Director of Culture in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So being exposed through the US Embassy and the American University, it boosted not only my self-confidence, but it took me places, as you say in local parlance. And I'm highly selfish type. I came from a teaching background, and so I'm very community oriented. So all the experiences I would have applied in the US, I shared with the various organizations I was exposed to. The Nebraska Dance Company, the Lomansville Anglican School, the church groups. And right here in my department, initially it was dance, and now it's all areas of the creative and cultural arts. I share what I would have known. So I was able to lift the standard in the arts in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and that's a big bonus. I must say it was an eye-opener. You got to see, so you were able to do more. I always say that experiences make you. And because I was exposed, I'm able to do so much in my community. And for that, I will forever be grateful. So thank you, America. Thank you for all you've done for me. As I say, God bless America and God bless my homeland, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And of course, I became firm in my resolve to make a difference in the arts. And I will continue to do that as the cultural officer here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Now, as I go along to the various tips I can provide to students, this one is essential. You have to follow your passion, because eventually the work will get difficult. But because you're passionate about what you do, when the stress is on you on the extra work or the work, it does get hard. You use that zest to drive you because you have that passion for it. Now, if it's the reverse, you would have undertaken an area where you try to impress your parents or your mom. And when it gets tough, you don't have that extra zest. So I implore you, students who are interested in studying the US, to follow your passion. That's the best gift, and you will excel at what you do. Identify your gift and follow that passion. Now, it's also important for you to find out or explore various universities so you know exactly what they offer. As I say here to my students, you have to do your homework. If you want to get there, you have to see which school offer what you want to do, and that's very important. Now you have to network, network, network. Build friends, make friends, because your friends can take you places, and that's important. They help you lift you and take you up the ladder, because they're more experienced than you, and you can ask for some advice. You can create visibility so they can see your work and they can push you. And when Sheena was introduced, those are some things that happened to Sheena. She made herself visible, and in doing your good works, others can recognize your talent and assist you in a various manner. You have to think big and dream big. You can't be always in a box. You have to think, I can do it. You have to believe in yourself. So in wanting to study overseas, you can't just say, oh, I'm going to study. You have to believe you can do it. You have to follow your passion. You have to build your network, and you have to research the university in which you want to undertake those studies. It's important because I came from an area where I push myself to excel. The A's, they matter. And I always say that good grades give you good scholarship. So if you want to get a scholarship, you have to have good grades. You can't waste them in school now and say, oh, it's time to, oh, it's the arts, I don't have to study. With the arts, you have to study. And at this time, I just stray a bit by saying, when I got the Fulbright scholarship, I also got a Commonwealth scholarship. And I thought, let's go to the US where they don't study and the students are rude to their teachers. When I got a rude awakening. In the US, the students, they do study. They're not rude to their teachers and they try best to excel. The A's matter. To get a B plus or C is like a fail. So they push you, and I found myself in the right zone because I've always been an A student, and getting an A is a plus. So try to get good grades, you're going to get good scholarship. Now, it's all about the grades, but it's not all about the grades. You have to be very community oriented. So get involved in the community. That can help you make a difference in their life. So when you want to apply for a scholarship, you can have all that in your portfolio, what you would have helped, what you would have done. So it's not all about the grades, even though it's about the grades. You have to get good grades, but also you have to be very involved. You can't be in a box by yourself and you don't want to share talent with others. And that's very important. Now you also have to believe, and believe you can do it. Yes, I said it earlier, but as I always say, repetition is gold. You have to believe you can do it. If you don't have any self-confidence and don't believe in yourself, you can't make it. I must hasten to add that venturing into a new institution or new career can be a bit scary at times, but you have to get over that fear, believe in yourself, use your 3Ds to help you. That's, I always say my 3Ds are determination, dedication, and discipline. And with those three things, once you believe, you can also achieve. Now, there's some areas you can really shine. You have to know your field you're good at, your gift. There's dance, there's arts, there's visual arts that Sheena has shown in. You can teach, you can be a dancer, playwright. There's various areas. You can be director, you can be a photographer, a makeup artist. You just find that niche, find that field you're interested in, and you can do it. Now, there's some other resources that you can tap on. And in St. Vincent and Grenadines, we have an Education USA Center, and that's manned by Mrs. Let's get the name right, Mrs. Monique Rogers Murray at Education USA, and she's an Education USA advisor. And she'll be willing to give you tips on how you can advance your career in the US. It could be a short-time program, like a short exchange, or it could be a full-time academic program, and they'll give you all the tips or the help you need to success in that area. Now, in Barbados, there are also other areas, but Sheena will tell you about that. And of course, nothing beats the experience on tapping on those who have a scholarship before you. And there are several Fulbrighters here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. There's some names that came through me for tips when they would have been applying for the scholarship. There's Samantha Porter, there's Kimberly Sardine, and there's Karen Jackson. I say Karen Jackson with a smile in my heart because Karen was the one who not only told me about the Fulbright, because I would have never heard about the Fulbright scholarship, but she also encouraged me to apply. I, Miss Maxine Browne, will forever be grateful to the U.S. Embassy in Barbados and the American government for investing so much in me. you've made a difference in my life, and for that I'll be truly grateful. Now, earlier I stressed that you have to work hard to succeed. But in the US, what really amazed me of the system, it promotes success. Yes, I would have said that, but it's less stressful. All resources are available. The library. If you don't have a laptop, you can borrow one. And so you're forced to succeed. So the system is success driven. And it's an area, if you get to go to the US to study, I know you are here because you're interested, that's an added plus. So invest now, take time to find the right area that you're interested in, and you go for it. God bless America. God bless my homeland, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and I would sincerely thank the American Embassy for investing so much in Miss Maxine Browne, now Cultural Officer in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And at this time, I'll ask Sheena to share a screen with you. I know she had a grand time. You have to work, but in between, you can have fun while learning. And that's another facet of the American system. You can have fun while it's learning, and that's a true mark of arts integration. Sheena, I'll now turn over to you. You're most welcome.
Thank you, Maxine. I did both of our presentations. I don't know what else to add, but you said almost everything that I think.
My responses. I know you can do it, Sheena.
Yeah, so I would say I had about the same. So I guess I will add a little bit more, like in the sense of applying and then going what happened and then a little bit after. So how I found out about Fulbright, a friend of mine, Dr. Allison Thompson, told me about it, and I was like, me do Fulbright? And she's like, yes, I believe you could get it and do it. So when I applied, I had to apply all kinds of documents, reference letters, and so on. And then later on, I found out I was shortlisted. I screamed, everything. What I would suggest or give advice to when you're having an interview or when you're invited to get an interview, before you're shortlisted, be yourself. Always be yourself. Be genuine. What Maxine just mentioned there about if you're going to do some studying and research, make sure that you're genuinely passionate about it because it becomes a lot of hard work. Definitely. And if you enjoy it, the hard work will drive you and keep you going. Yes, it can be stressful, but it keep you going and you become more curious and more like excited to see the work develop. So when it was shortlisted, I had to do some more procedures, and then finally they said, Sheena, you got the Fulbright. And I'm like, yay! So I went to the University of North Carolina at Greensboro and did my studio art, my master's in studio art. So the program was 2 years. So when I went there, I was accepted to like 4 schools so far because we had to apply to 4 and I got accepted to all 4. But I decided to go to UNCG because it was closer to my aunt in New York. And then the great thing about being in the States, being in America, is that you could travel back and forth anywhere, anytime, through airplane, through boats, through train, any transportation, and get to one state to another state. So I decided to go to North Carolina, which was closer to my aunt in New York, but also I wanted to focus in studio art. I didn't want it to paint. I didn't just want to draw. I wanted to learn to use different media and become professional in the studio. So while I was there, before I received the Fulbright, I had exhibited in museums, galleries, featured in magazines and stuff, and did international art residencies. That's when you go into someone country for maybe for a week to a year. But I went for 3 months, 3 weeks, 2 days, whatever. But while studying in the States, this was my first time actually living beyond 3 months. So the first 3 months felt normal to me. But then later on, when the 3 months passed, it became scary. So the thing is, the beauty about this is that when you come in, you are welcomed by the staff. You are welcomed by new friends. And then it don't become as scary. The culture is different. It's different than yours. You see it on TV. So for me, I was imagining America as TV. But as I lived there, I started to learn and also learn about myself and started to learn about their culture as well. Well, I enjoy being at UNCG. I enjoy the library tremendously. Honestly, at that time, my English wasn't that great. even though Barbadian we speak English is Bajan dialect. What was very helpful and useful for me was the learning center, which was free. That other students that were like in their major in English will help you with your English, will read over your thesis, will read over some essays and assignments, and take their time and correct your English and explain what were the mistakes. So that was very helpful. What was also nice that I had colleagues and also class teachers that were very patient with me when I broke down crying many times. That's not the negative side, it's reality because I became homesick. Even though Fulbright spoiled me, Fulbright made sure to cover you. You have all of these sources, but just my personality. I start to get homesick. I start to miss the beach, the sea, the sun, everything. But after a while, I started to get used of living there for 2 years. I started to exhibit in museums and galleries while studying. I started to network and started to like be in newspapers like Huffington Post at that time and being on Naomi Jackson book cover, The Star Said Bird Hill. What was also amazing being at UNCG or even studying abroad is that not just library and school sources, but also giving the space, give you permission and give you confidence to be yourself. I was very frightened to wear wigs. I was very scared to put on blue lipstick because where I live is quite conservative. So being somewhere that's very like radical and so on, it was like a little scary, but it also boosts my confidence. Therefore, it boosts my art because art is yourself. So it have given me a lot of confidence, a lot of bravery, and it have taught me to go and break the boundaries. Before I used to hear, you're so outside the box. You're outside the box, and I like, you know what? Since I have 2 years studying, put myself in the box, and I put myself in the box, not literally but mentally, and decided and realized that I'm a Black woman from Barbados in the Caribbean. So therefore, that day, given that moment, be having that time to study, having that time of mentors and teachers to push you and say, keep on going, keep on going. Your work used to look like a mess, but that was actually a good sign because you were deconstructing the work. And then afterwards, when the second year, you start to see it come together. Another thing I could probably add is after the Fulbright, after my program, my career had blew up because Fulbright is such a prestigious award, and I am a Fulbrighter for life. It's very prestigious. It's up to a certain level. I will highly recommend it. It fully cover everything and my career have changed definitely. I have been in major collections since then. I have been in major universities, write-ups, reviews, and then just yesterday I was featured in White Wall magazine. So that's another luxurious cover there as well. I always represent, I always show I have a Fulbright. Thank you, U.S. Embassy, for this opportunity. My life have changed. Listen to how I talking now. I could switch it up. I could talk Bajan if I want, and then I could talk. I could talk this way academically when I want to, right? Even though that may be wrong. But anyway, so where I'm going with this is that without Fulbright, I am not sure where my life will be. Perhaps yes, they may have another scholarship or two, but honestly, having this Fulbright is so prestigious, and I feel like a VIP. Come on, so so where I would go with this here is that I will recommend it. It is a lot of work. You have to keep up your GPA. Therefore, you have to keep up your work. But as Maxine said so well, all your rest of colleagues are passionate to get their A's. Therefore, you will be along that train as well. You want to be with everyone else. You want to push yourself. Just 2 weeks ago, I just received a Distinguished Alumni Award from UNCG. They have recognized and realized how much work I have put into my masters, and then afterwards representing and waving yes the Belgian flag, but yes the USA flag, because the USA have been so supportive of giving me this opportunity, this scholarship, and so much. And also, it's not just about me, but how much I have contributed to my island, to the Caribbean. So like Maxine and myself, we represent the Caribbean very strong and would love to see the art scene blow up, add and contribute to the space. So as I don't do just painting and drawing, I don't do dancing, but I taught dancers performance art. I also taught them concepts because art is an idea. So art adds so much to our space, and I'm so happy that the U.S. Embassy, the State Department, LASPO, Fulbright, all the programs that came together give us this opportunity can now help you, apply and go for it. You can make a career as someone in the arts. Don't think, oh, I can't make money off of this. I can't be somebody. I can't contribute in the government. No. Yes, you can. So I would encourage and tell you, get up and apply. It don't hurt. I get up, apply, and this is where I am right now. So I think that's it for me, Maxine and everyone.
Excellent presentation, Sheena. But
Thank
just to add, because we failed to add it earlier, what's the added bonus with having been granted a Fulbright scholarship is the aftermath. The U.S. Embassy in Barbados, they follow up on their students. What are you doing? How have you excelled? And they provided so many other opportunities. And not only in the arts, because I've studied things on climate change. I've been to Trinidad and Tobago. I've been to the Kennedy Center. So the embassy, U.S. Embassy in Barbados, they're doing a just duty by exposing the Caribbean students, and we'll forever be grateful. Now, Sheena, you seem so passionate when you spoke. What has been your most memorable Fulbright experience? If you can say that, if you can pin it down to one thing, because I know we have so many memorable experiences.
There's so many. I think for me, I met a beautiful friend of mine. Hopefully she watched this, Carmen Neely. She's an artist herself too. She was there for me when I felt like bizarre and strange in the space. So I got a big share. But for Fulbright, what was so amazing that I consider they're always there for you. If you have a problem, if you got good things, if you got something to share, they're always there for you 24 hours. So you definitely will be being taken care of. So my most memorable time is being taken care of. So from there, I could enjoy the rest of my studies. And how about you, Maxine? What's your most memorable time studying? What will you do like if you could go back into time for that moment?
I take the traveling opportunities. I've been exposed. I've seen so many states in the US, and I couldn't have been able to do it on my own. So that's memorable. But to take it at the optimum level, just acquiring a Fulbright scholarship and the investment, heavy investment, because American University is a cheap school to go to. I wouldn't have been able to do it on my own. I think that has tipped the iceberg. But you mentioned the friendship. I have some long-lasting friendship. I met other Vincentians I wouldn't have met. There's a Miss Lavon Cook in the US. She looked up for me. And as a student, your work, it builds up. And then you get busy. And then if you're not a hot chef, and I said they'll have most students, they go away young. They cook and bring food for you. The church was helpful, my Anglican church. So just the whole embrace and the embracing of the American community. And I must also add, my favorite time in the US is Thanksgiving. Wow. Other Fulbright is because they have this Fulbright alumni in DC. They look out for you. So you'll be home because you go to when I went to DC, I knew no one in DC. And they'll come to your home. They will bring things for you to eat. They'll do potluck. They love that. They do some Vincentian curry, pillau, and breadfruit and saltfish. And every Thanksgiving, they'll make their time to come and get you. And you stay that weekend by them and take you around. So just the embracing of the family members in the US. Mm-hmm. I think that's added plus also. They take you, they look out for you, and that's a plus. You think go to the US and they won't look out for you, they look out for you. Sometimes even more than your Caribbean friends. No offense, I love my Caribbean, but you have to face the reality.
I had it just not because when I think about it, Carmen was there for me, but there was 8 of us. So I want to big up all y'all for if y'all see this, so don't feel left out. I know how I am. But like another thing too, Maxine, you mentioned the library all the time. Weren't there any party time for us? Weren't there any time for just relaxation?
Mhm.
Were there any events that we look forward to? Any
Well, well, the Fulbright, they had lots of galas. You know, Miss Maxine is quite fashionable. So I put on my best dress and go, and you make new friends. And they have exposed you to so many things. They say, oh, Maxine, there's a production going on at Georgetown University. I know you're American, but come with us. And they pay for you to get there and all that. So the galas were awesome. So, of course, as they say, oh, all work and no play, you know what they say. So you have fun while studying. That's the important aspect. You have to make some mingle.
I too also had some fun with undergrads. Because when my other colleagues were busy with their thesis and masters and all of that, I used to hang out with the undergrads a lot. When I did, I might call the word wrong, the assistantship. If I say it wrong, it is when you get a chance to work in the States. And this is when Fulbright will make it legal for you to work within the school. So therefore you get extra money. And during that time, I was assistant with the computer and also I, I can't remember the next one, but I remember for sure the computer room. And I would talk to a lot of undergrads to get to know me. Then eventually they would tell me this event happening, this party happening, this studying group happening. So I became a character in the school. Let's put it that way. Like everyone started to know me because everyone was just friendly and very helpful. So I enjoyed that too. Of if you needed help, everyone was undergrad and graduates was there to be willing to help or invite you somewhere, especially the potlucks.
Hmm. I did. But just to add Sheena, and you must add that we did work legally. I was a graduate assistant, so I will combine all the abstract for the capstone. We say thesis here, but it's a capstone. And in the end, I was able to be awarded high distinction for my capstone on exploring the use of arts integration to enhance teaching and learning in the elementary school. You know, I came from a teaching background, and that's why I always so passionate about arts integration. Also, I work at Joe's Movement Emporium, and
Mm.
that's they do that all areas of the arts they're involved in, and it's a community where everyone may not be able to make it, but they try to embrace everyone in the community, somehow underprivileged. So we work legally because it was part of our internship. So you have to establish that because when you go to study youth, you cannot work, but we did the right way, the legal sense. It's
Yeah,
important to add that.
it's so important to add that because again, Fulbright will make sure and cover what is legal. Because when I had opportunities coming to me with honorariums and this, I always double check and say, is this okay to do? Because you still
Mhm.
want to respect the laws, you still want to respect the country because it's an opportunity itself. So you just
Mhm.
go along.
Mhm.
Just 2 years, go along,
Mhm.
don't break anything. That is what me and Maxine will highly recommend because there's still a job and it's a choice if you want to work there. So that's very good though, Maxine.
Mhm.
Jobs you have.
Yes, yes. I get involved where I go fit in, but I do my work because, of course, it's Maxine like her age. I work hard. And I know we are so passionate about the sport, right? Someday, Sheena, we should get another Fulbright, don't you think so, too?
Pardon?
I wish you could get another Fulbright scholarship.
I know. I know. I want
But you see,
it.
you have to make room for the others, you know? But I wish I could get on to do my PhD, something in cultural policy or something in art and leadership. That would be ideal. But you know, we share the wealth. We have to ensure others get a taste of the pie, and that's why we're here to ask them and encourage them to apply for Fulbright. And if they're interested in school in the US, you can tap on our resources.
It's so true. Like I hope that this talk between Maxine and I have inspired you all. You may be a little nervous, but that's okay. Just apply, and you will see how many doors have opened up for you. You will see how your mind have expanded. And yeah, like I would go again. I gonna see if I could go again. For real. But it's
I
up to
see.
sorry.
I hear the passion, but I know we have a limited time and we want the others to ask the question.
Yeah.
So let's definitely leave room now for our friends who have tuned in online.
Okay, so how can we see the questions?
I
Okay,
think Alila will help us with that.
Yes, I will help out with you. Well, first of all, thank you guys so much. This was super informative. I guess we are all part of the Fulbright family. I also did the Fulbright, but from the U.S. student going abroad. I actually spent a year in the country of Panama. I'm Panamanian American, so it was an opportunity for me to get in touch with the country of my heritage, to teach English there and everything like that. So I agree with both of you guys that the Fulbright is an amazing program for foreign students and U.S. students. And they also have the Fulbright Alumni Association, which actually helps us out. I mean, if we ever want to do a certain project or work with them on small grants and stuff like that, there's always that opportunity for Fulbright alumni to apply for those programs. So again, that's another plug for everybody to apply to the Fulbright, so then you have access to those funding opportunities. But I also want to say, guys, now's the time to ask any questions that you have for Maxine and Sheena. We have one question from Zinzi Horn, which is, I tuned in late, but besides academics, what else do you guys think makes you attractive enough to receive a Fulbright scholarship? Is it just for persons in the arts that get awarded the Fulbright scholarship? Go ahead.
Zinzi, I know Zinzi. Hi, Zinzi. Good to hear from you. What I really like about this Fulbright experience is that you decide which area you're interested in. And if it's an area that they fund, you can apply for scholarships. It's not only about the arts, it's just the arts, but any field of study from master's to PhD and postgraduate, you can apply for. Sheena, what's your take on it?
Yeah, not just the arts kind of play. Sorry, any form of studies can apply. It just happened that Maxine and I are in the arts, because I guess a lot of people may think, okay, mathematics and English will be the obvious, but also arts can be in it as well. What makes us? The question is, do you guys think makes you attractive enough to receive a Fulbright scholarship? I try to understand that question. Like, what made us get it? Like, what? Okay, so before I got it Fulbright, I did a lot of a lot of like social work. So like, I helped transform the space by putting art in public spaces, by putting small paintings in public spaces. I also organized. I was the founder of Project and Space, which was a small organization that you come to the project. I look for the space in Barbados, and which help organize artist residencies, art shows, any form of like performance, anything. So besides that, I was representing Barbados a lot. Like every year I was in some other country exhibiting, just staying loud and proud. I'm an artist from Barbados. So it's not just about having just a good grade. It's also how much you have contributed to space. And I guess also why you want a Fulbright and how much you could add back to space after getting it too. What do you think, Matt?
But just to add, earlier I indicated that it's the onus is on us to make ourselves visible. And through visibility, that's how people know of you and recognize you. I was heavily involved in the arts, and I came from teaching background. And I must say, because it's something that people struggle with in the arts. I know Zinzi may not be arts oriented, but they look down upon the arts. Okay, it's not recognized. Why do the arts? Do medicine, do be a lawyer. But that's not my passion. You need to follow your passion. And the arts hold a key place in our society. So I don't know why every time parents are fussed with students dancing, they don't in music. So you have to follow your passion. So I taught almost every school in Livingston. I was a kids' government school, the Lomond Anglican school, Kittels, they danced. And parents realized that these students involved in dance, they're getting better grades than those who are not. And then they got on board, oh, Maxine, Miss Paloma went out in the class, but there was a struggle. And you have to do dancing only after school. So thank God now we have a good collaboration with the Ministry of Education. Now dance is in school. Yes, not one school, but we're working on getting that arts integration kicking almost every school in St. Vincent. So it's a rude awakening, because I know some people are fearful to enter the arts realm because they think we won't make it there. But Sheena has made it. I have made it, and so can you. So that's my take on the topic.
Amen to that. Next question is from Angela Chase Yard. Messaging for my daughter, a Barbadian finishing her bachelor's study in architecture. Can she apply for a scholarship in the master's program, like a Fulbright scholarship in architecture?
As I mentioned before, yes, you can. But what I will recommend or suggest is keep building. And Maxine has said it earlier in her presentation. Build up your CV because to be honest, it's very competitive. So I would say, well, it should be competitive because it treat you very well. So what I would say is build your CV, build it up, do a lot of stuff that you genuinely care for. So if she's in architecture, she perhaps should do internship, perhaps build a mentor, many stuff, and get involved in nonprofits, get involved anything to just build the CV. Because again, a lot of people are applying, and therefore Fulbright will want the best of the best to keep on the best. So yes, you can apply, but I would highly recommend to build that CV.
Yeah. And just to add, because I bashed in the best. After all, my motto holds true. Only the best is good enough. Okay, and Fulbright, we cater for the best. But what's important? I think you have to be very impressive at interview. Don't come with rehearsed answer. They look for the natural you, not rehearsed answer or have things that are made up that are not truthful. You have to speak the truth and try to impress them right there, because that's where, as we say in local parlance, the sheep from the goat. And I really made an impression at my interview. And then it was Barbara, but I think they did it online now. I became the principal candidate, so I was able to get the school of my choice. It was American University, my first choice. So you have to be impressive, but in being impressive, you have to be natural. They look for the natural in you, the real you. Don't come with rehearsed answers that are not catchy.
Right.
Be yourself.
It's true.
I actually had a question, which is from your guys' time in the U.S., Maxine, you at American University, Sheena, you at University of North Carolina. What were some of sort of the best practices that you saw in how those universities nurtured and cultivated artists or just creatives generally? What were some of those best practices that you then brought back to the Caribbean? Or vice versa, what are some things that maybe you didn't see happening in the U.S. that you saw happening in the Caribbean that you think that the U.S. can learn from the Caribbean in terms of cultivating artists?
You want to start, Sheena, or you want to start?
Okay.
I can start.
Pardon?
No, go ahead, because I'm always starting all the answers. You can go first.
Okay. Let me see. So there's one and the other. So for me, as I mentioned, was the confidence. Right now I have on the camera illustration. Right now I have two opposite earrings. I would not have done that before. I would have made sure that they match or something like that, but they follow the theme. That simple thing is still a big thing. Therefore, the US have helped me to understand details. It have helped me to understand my identity, my voice, and how to navigate. Simple earrings. So therefore, I studied the aesthetic. Therefore, I studied the history. Therefore, I studied the pop culture and the culture by simple earrings and simple colored things, even the background.
Mm.
The difference with the Caribbean now is that now that I mentioned color, we're very bright with colors. We have a lot of bright holidays. So when I talk to my parents or friends, I'd be like, "Oh, we have another holiday. We have another holiday. We have another." So for me, I find Barbados and the Caribbean is very relaxing, and I would say that both the Caribbean and the US is very sharing. There's a different kind of sharing. I think sharing in the sense that it we how to explain that we welcome people, the US too, but it's like a neighborhood, like girl, pass me that salt, pass me this. The states too as well. But I find that there's a confidence of saying a lot more salt into that food. Similar, but
Mm-hmm.
still a slight difference of pushing permission. Right? They're very similar, like a fine line. I can't quite explain the difference. Therefore, that's why I paint. That's what I draw to try to understand culture. So I would say in the Caribbean, what the US is maybe, but the US is so different. The US got the Caribbean, it got Latin America, it
Right.
got Europe, it got Africa, it got a whole mixture of people. So I cannot say I color, but where I was located in North Carolina, I did miss the color. I did miss the Caribbean food, the spices and stuff. And being in Barbados now, I do miss the people of breaking that boundary and saying, I want to dress this way, I want to act this way, I want to say this. So I am split into two.
Mhm. Well, I think Sheena hit the hammer on the nail, but I want to reiterate with some facts that were really important. The level of confidence. You would believe that Miss Maxine Marvin used to be so shy, but having been exposed to the system, it brought up my confidence. So much so that when I got back to the Department of Culture, my co-workers thought I had an attitude because I had a voice now. You're more confident. So that's I must credit them for that, and it's a very important tool in the learning process, the confidence level. You could bring tears to my eyes with the way the teachers believe in you. See, your force, Hermina, Professor Sherburn, you're forced to just excel. Another takeaway is that they provide various opportunities. In the Caribbean bit of the view, and that's why maybe the ads has not take off, that if you leave the classroom setting, you're not learning. You must be in the class, mathematics, do English. But learning takes place in the classroom. And that's one thing I think the American system has over us. And they expose the students. It's not you only stay in the classroom, you have field trip going there. Everything you can think of to take out of the classroom setting because that's where the real learning takes place. So I must commend the American system for that. And I embrace teamwork. Now, we do teamwork in the Caribbean. I love my Caribbean setting and my corporate intention. But it's like a struggle teamwork here. But you're forced to work together in the US. They build teamwork, they respect each other's opinion, and so you get to have a voice. So the voice from the voice, that's the takeaway I got from the US. Speak up, talk up, and show up.
No, it's so true, so true. And I also want to say, if anybody is interested in the Fulbright Scholarship or actually any of the exchange programs that we have, because again, the Fulbright, Sheena, you said it, the Fulbright is just one of many, right? In Fulbright itself, there's like the regular Fulbright foreign student program, then there's Fulbright Lastbau, then there's the Fulbright Herbert Humphreys, which is for mid-career people to spend a few months in the United States as well. Angela said thank you for answering her question, and so did Zinzi. So hey, no problem, guys. These guys are the experts, so they're absolutely here to answer all your questions. Next one is from Jakel Mars, and his question is, what would you say was the most difficult part of the Fulbright process or experience?
Well, as a writer, it wasn't difficult to say, but my friend said that's a difficult part. The process of making all the application, writing your statement of interest, it's very time consuming. So I think that's a difficult part for most of my friends. But because I'm a writer, I stayed home that night and I just make sure I complete my application in time for it. So Jaquel, I know Jaquel is very much engaged in the arts. So Jaquel, we love you. And just take time for that. So to me, that's the most difficult part. Now, there's maybe little issues with transition because you have to leave your homeland and go to a foreign land, but they make you feel so at home. Jack, when we get to the US and you must apply for a Fulbright, you fit right into the box. They make you feel at home, and that's what amazed me. Because the American University was a predominantly white university students, but they embraced me all. So I've been here waiting for those people because they always think, oh, you find a pick up racism, they're the most helpful. You miss a class, you get the notes, type out and all. And that brought tears to my eyes. So when you expose, you get to meet people of different ethnic backgrounds, and that's important. Thank you, America, for treating me so well. So, Jaquel, make time amidst all the difficulties. You shine in the end.
For me, Maxine hit the nail on the head with that. The application is like the application is for a year. So Fulbright is actually 5 years. It's a year of applying, 2 years studying, and 2 years back home. So when you apply, it's a year, and it is nerve-wracking, but it's worth it. I remember when I was applying, you're just nervous. You hear your get shortlisted, ding, ding, ding. You do the GRE test, ding, ding, ding. You get through to schools, and it's going on and going on and going on. The easiest part is finally landing in the States and started to study. But then it go back up and down again. You gotta make sure your GPA is good. If your GPA is not good, you lose the scholarship. So that was nerve wracking as well. But every semester I have gone past the GPA that they have requested. So like, whew. So then, and then later on the thesis get nerve wracking because you're so close now. You were in the beginning, you were in the middle, and then you're in the end, and you're making sure you submit your thesis on time. That day was very scary. After that, easy breezy.
It's a breeze.
And for you, I mean, your thesis was, different bodies of artwork, correct?
Yes. My thesis is actually up. It's on Instagram called Finally I Love Myself, which I created a mini soap opera of looking at my personalities and acting out scenarios and so on. So with my master's degree, I was you were flexible to come up with an idea, and then your teachers and your mentors and even your classmates will help you guide through and develop your concept. But at first you have nothing, and then eventually you come with an idea, and then you develop it, and then boom, you have your thesis.
Interesting.
Very just to use the American terminology, capstone. I like that word.
Right. Capstone.
My capstone was exploring the use of arts integration to enhance teaching and learning in the elementary school in the United States of America. And I had no choice but to do that because, as I would have indicated earlier, I'm very passionate about the arts, and I just wanted to prove a point. And the final point proved that the arts, it doesn't hinder, it helps. So parents would think, oh, if you're involved in dance, you won't do well in school. They go academic and the arts, they go hand in hand. So parents, I appeal to you and I continue to appeal to you, give the students a chance to shine. It makes the whole child, a holistic development, everything is involved in the arts. So remember that, it helps, it doesn't hinder.
Wow. Maxine, this is actually a great segue to the next question, which is by Ackley Olton, which is, in light of COVID-19, and all the givens about the state of the Caribbean economy, how do we encourage Caribbean governments to invest in arts education? And how do we monetize the work of this artist?
Well, COVID-19 continues to affect us. But amidst all the challenges COVID-19 brought, there were some pluses, so to speak, We were literally forced to think outside the box. We were too much of an inner box. If it weren't for COVID-19, we wouldn't be having this session. I don't think we would have had this session. So I don't say thank God for it because it really brought it on us. But we were forced to awaken the mind to think creatively. Mm-hmm. Now, it has always been a struggle, and I think more investment could be made in the arts. We struggle with that a lot. Yes, the government is getting it wrong to really invest in more in the arts because the cry is everywhere. The arts hit, the arts big. It helps to identify your identity. It's everything. And so slowly but surely, the government is making chance to invest in the arts. Yes, it's a struggle because to me, more could be done for the arts. But as I say, I say the minus and the plus. We are getting there. We have to get there. So the onus is on us to create that visibility of the importance of the art. Keep pushing it, speak to the media so that everybody will get the big picture and see the benefit that can be derived in the art. So we have work to do. Okay, there was a second part of the question. I tried to monetize. We all struggle with that. And I must say, even as an artist, and Sheena, you can attest to this, we into this free realm, everything's free. Even if you want to stage sometimes, because you like to, I believe it would cost you, to dress up and pay for that, but yet you give it free. So unless we as artists take time to be professional and charge a fee, no matter how small. Something you know how to charge, you don't know how much to charge. But the city have workshop on things to help you. And then we want so much into the online world. And so we found ourselves deadlocked when this thing came upon us and we can't do live performances. So perhaps as Lena's here, I can encourage you to use Embassy World, do different programs on webinars. How can we monetize to make an income virtually? Because right now that's the whole up. We don't know how to do it. It's a struggle. Some have tried different media. media, but it's a struggle. So Leland, I put this on you right now. How can we have workshop to teach our people how to make money amidst this crisis on us? And I think that's how I respond to the question. I don't know. Sheena has a different take. And I know Oglon is an artist. He's quite good and very professional. He's actually my videographer.
So, the thing is, I just read an over the question again. How do we encourage Caribbean government to invest in art education? By what we're doing right now. As Maxine just said there, to Leland asking questions about webinars and workshops. We need to be educated, and I mean this is what you apply, and it's just not educated with like academia, but educated by reading, speaking out, being articulate yourself to show that we can contribute and add too much to the space. Even if it's decorative art still have a lot of symbols, meanings, concept, and it represent us. So I find that we arts tend to get nervous and sometimes get very insecure or doubtful. And that's kind of understandable because of the space that we live in is not that encouraging. It's more encouraging of being like a lawyer, a doctor, someone that made obvious money. But we need to like get out of our very like doubtful self and very scared self and start making more voices, start creating. I know, of course, you need a government assistant or some sort of assistant to make public art happen. But then there's also investors, there's also private sectors, and then there's also neighborhoods that maybe need transforming or perhaps need to see more art. So you have all these social medias, you have all these material that can make you visible. So therefore, I would say become more visible that then the government can see you and assist you. So the Natural Cultural Foundation just last week have purchased a couple of pieces from me. I've been doing contemporary art for 11 years, but I have received my Fulbright in 2016. So I had to do a lot of work to be visible and to be heard. Since having a Fulbright now, I did the Inter-American Development Bank mural and did a presentation with the president of the bank, of the Inter-American Development Bank in Washington, D.C. I have also spoke to ministers. I have also spoke to all kinds of people, but not just like saying hi people. I also talk to people in neighborhoods,
Right.
and anybody, any person. I don't treat anybody different. It's just being visible, being heard, and being that people hear you, and just keep working. So the next question that you have asked about monetizing, once you are being visible, therefore you're adding value to your work. You're adding value to yourself. So my work may have cost 100 US years ago. Now it worth maybe double that, triple that. You
Mhm.
know, a lot more. Since collectors like celebrities, collectors buying my work
Mhm.
have gone up as well. So it's you that have to check your value and then therefore monetize yourself first. Don't do all the free stuff. Don't be thinking about exposure all the time because then therefore it becomes exploitation. So
Mhm.
for Bright, as Maxie and Leland just said it so beautifully. Just be yourself. Be natural. If I had just said that in an interview, I would get another Fulbright. So,
But as we wrap up, Sheena, I'd like to do some parting words. Now, we must admit that it could be scary venturing into studies overseas. But I implore you, and I reiterate, exercise the 3 Ds. Be determined, be dedicated, be disciplined, and you must believe in yourself. And once you believe, you can achieve. And go get it. Apply for a scholarship to do a master's or undergrad. You can do it. We have to make room for the arts because we want to build it. Otherwise, it will not be respected.
you
Sheena, your parting words?
Yeah, you can do it. Definitely. My last part on this that's so important. You do I know persons may look at their background. I know person may look at their class, may look at their race, may look at their gender. That doesn't matter. Let me just tell you, I had 4 CSCs. Four, right? And now I have a master's degree. So it doesn't matter. You understand? It doesn't matter if you got 8, 10, you
Just
know,
Sheena.
it doesn't
Mm,
matter.
mm.
Just be
And
your
Sheena, just quickly add. everyone has a different time to shine. You have to remember that. My time will be this year, your time is next year. Wash no face at the same local talents. You can do it too. Everyone has a different time to shine. Maybe this is your year. Bring it on, baby.
Hey, I said, bring it on. So
Oh, amen.
don't be sad saying, oh, I only got 2 CS. No, stop that and go and play.
Stop it right now.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Man, I wish, actually, we have a few more questions, but we're already getting up to the 1 hour mark. So I think we're going to have to end it there.
You can email us or you can WhatsApp us. Those who know me from St. Vincent, those who know Sheena, my email, max73@hotmail.com. You can email me and you can provide some further assistance.
Definitely. We'll definitely do that. The last thing I wanted to say before we end is this is part 2 of the International Education Week virtual programming that we have for the rest of the week. So tomorrow we are going to be talking about sports, right? So we talked about the arts today. Tomorrow we're going to talk to 2 student athletes who had studied in the U.S. and talk about their experience as well. So definitely don't miss that. Also, you guys had mentioned about how to monetize sort of being an artist and so on and so forth. We actually did a program last night where we had a U.S. group. It was called Tim and the Space Cadets. They were actually here in Barbados performing throughout the week. But they joined Allison Hines, right, the Queen of Soca, Allison Hines, and they had an awesome virtual program too, in which they were talking about a musician, right? How do musicians monetize their art? And I think there's a lot of good lessons learned that I think artists as well can really take from that as well. So if you missed that, also go on our Facebook. Guys, thank you so much. Maxine, Sheena, thank you so much for your time. It has been an awesome time. And to everyone else out there, have a great day and have a great rest of your International Education Week. Bye.
Bye, Sheena. Bye, Leland.
Take care.
Thanks for having us.
Apply.
Keep in touch.
Bye.
Bye.